And how, monks, does mindfulness of breathing, developed and cultivated, fulfill the 4 satipatthanas, the 4 intense states of mindfulness? Monks, on whatever occasion a monk breathing in long understands I breathe in long, or breathing out long he understands I breathe out long, breathing in short understands I breathe in short, or breathing out short he understands I breathe out short. Thus, trains thus, I shall breathe in experiencing the whole body of breath, trains thus I shall breathe out experiencing the whole body of breath, trains thus I shall breathe in tranquilizing the bodily volition, trains thus I shall breathe out tranquilizing the bodily volition. On that occasion, the monk abides contemplating the body in the body, ardent, fully aware and mindful, having put away covetousness and grief for the world. I say that this is a certain body among the bodies, namely in-breathing and out-breathing. That is why on that occasion a monk abides contemplating the body in the body, ardent, fully aware and mindful, having put away covetousness and grief for the world. So, in the practice of the satipatthana, there are 4 objects we have to pay attention to. The first one is body. So here when you contemplate your breath itself, the Buddha says that is practicing satipatthana, the first object of satipatthana. So it doesn't have to be a human body. This breath body is also counted. Monks, on whatever occasion a monk trains thus, I shall breathe in experiencing delight, trains thus I shall breathe out experiencing delight, trains thus I shall breathe in experiencing pleasure, trains thus I shall breathe out experiencing pleasure, trains thus I shall breathe in experiencing the mental volition, trains thus I shall breathe out experiencing the mental volition, trains thus I shall breathe in tranquilizing the mental volition, trains thus I shall breathe out tranquilizing the mental volition. On that occasion, a monk abides contemplating feelings in feelings, ardent, fully aware and mindful, having put away covetousness and grief for the world. I say that this is a certain feeling among the feelings, namely giving close attention to in-breathing and out-breathing. That is why on that occasion a monk abides contemplating feelings in feelings, ardent, fully aware and mindful, having put away covetousness and grief for the world. This part, the Buddha says, when you experience delight, when you experience pleasure, you are experiencing feelings. So, in that sense, this mindfulness of the breath is a contemplation of feelings, and feelings is the second object of satipatthana. The other thing that you can say, because here it says, I say that this is a certain feeling among the feelings, namely giving close attention to in-breathing and out-breathing. When we give attention to our breath, going in and going out, sometimes it's very hard to see the breath. So you know that the breath goes in and out. Why? Because of that feeling. Some people feel the breath rather than to see the breath. Just like when the wind blows on your body, you have the feeling, right, of contact, the feeling that the wind is blowing against your body. You can feel the wind. So in the same way, when the breath goes inside us, into our lungs, and goes out, you can feel the breath. So for some people, this contemplation of the breathing in and breathing out is like a feeling of the breath. Because of sloth and torpor, we cannot see the breath properly. Our mind is not clear. So you know the breath. For some people, you feel the breath going in and out. That's why when you pay attention to the breath, then you are paying attention to feeling. That's what. There's another interpretation that you can give here. Monks, on whatever occasion the monk trains thus, I shall breathe in, experiencing the mind. Trains thus, I shall breathe out, experiencing the mind. Trains thus, I shall breathe in, gladdening the mind. Trains thus, I shall breathe out, gladdening the mind. Trains thus, I shall breathe in, concentrating the mind. Trains thus, I shall breathe out, concentrating the mind. Trains thus, I shall breathe in, liberating the mind. Trains thus, I shall breathe out, liberating the mind. On that occasion, a monk abides contemplating mind in mind, ardent, fully aware and mindful, having put away covetousness and grief for the world. I do not say that there is development of mindfulness of breathing for one who is forgetful, who is not fully aware. That is why on that occasion a monk abides contemplating mind in mind, ardent, fully aware and mindful, having put away covetousness and grief for the world. So here in the same way, you can see here when the Buddha refers to the third object of satipatthana, mindfulness of the mind, you can consider in two ways. One is when you reach the stage where you are experiencing the mind, or the mind is gladdened, or the mind is concentrated. So because you are aware of the states of the mind, so the Buddha says this is practicing satipatthana, contemplating mind in mind. Another way of looking at it is that when you are paying full attention to your breath, your mind is not running away. Your mind, you are not forgetful. You are very mindful of the breath. So for that reason, because you are practicing mindfulness, so the Buddha says you are contemplating the mind as the third object of satipatthana, because the Buddha says here, there is no development of mindfulness of breathing for one who is forgetful. If you are practicing mindfulness of your breath and your mind runs away, then you are not practicing mindfulness of the breath. You are practicing forgetfulness of the breath. But if you are mindful of the breath, then the Buddha says you are contemplating the mind, because your mind, you are in your mind, you are not elsewhere. So in this sense, you can read two meanings into this paragraph. One is you are experiencing the mind, and the other one is that you are being very mindful. That's why you are practicing contemplating the mind. Monks, on whatever occasion a monk trains thus, I shall breathe in, contemplating impermanence. Trains thus, I shall breathe out, contemplating impermanence. Trains thus, I shall breathe in, contemplating fading away. Trains thus, I shall breathe out, contemplating fading away. Trains thus, I shall breathe in, contemplating cessation. Trains thus, I shall breathe out, contemplating cessation. Trains thus, I shall breathe in, contemplating relinquishment. Trains thus, I shall breathe out, contemplating relinquishment. On that occasion, a monk abides contemplating Dhamma in Dhamma, ardent, fully aware and mindful, having put away covetousness and grief for the world. Having seen with wisdom the abandoning of covetousness and grief, he closely looks on with equanimity. That is why on that occasion a monk abides contemplating Dhamma in Dhamma, ardent, fully aware and mindful, having put away covetousness and grief for the world. Monks, that is how mindfulness of breathing, developed and cultivated, fulfills the four satipatthanas, intense states of mindfulness. So this last part, when you are contemplating the Dhamma, the Buddha's teachings, at the same time, of course, you are breathing, but your attention is more on the Dhamma. Your attention is not so much on the breathing. So at that time, you are practicing the fourth object of satipatthana, contemplating the mind. So you can see here, just practicing anapanasati, you are practicing the four satipatthana. So unlike what nowadays some vipassana monks say, they say that the vipassana meditation is this satipatthana, synonymous with satipatthana meditation, but it is not, because later you see in the next section, if you are actually practicing the four satipatthana, is equivalent to practicing the seven bojjhanga, seven enlightenment factors. And we can see later that the seven enlightenment factors consist of certain factors which have to do with jhana. So if you cannot attain jhana, you are not practicing satipatthana or the bojjhanga, which is what the Satipatthana Sutta says in the Samyutta Nikaya. So from this section, it's very clear. Anapanasati, the practice of anapanasati is equivalent to the practice of the four satipatthana.